This hasn't helped me out. And quite frankly, I could make up a better lie, but I have no motivation to lie.
There are few tales that can stand the test of time and stay in the memories of human consciousness without withering away. Today, people's minds forget as soon as the next outrage on TV breaks. However, there's one story I haven't forgotten, and it's been about 3 decades since the UFO community was ignited worldwide through an unexpected interview from a man who claimed the government had allegedly kept one of the biggest secrets from the public. For a time, it appeared the Nevada desert had buried these allegations of having flying saucers and aliens in an underground military base. Time passed, and as expected, the masses stopped looking for the little green men and instead were drawn to the city of lights like mindless flies. Secrets. They don't often unveil themselves in Las Vegas, a place of fantasy, a place to break the rules, a place to be entertained in darkness for a short period of time. Ironically enough, one of the biggest stories in history broke loose 30 years ago through a Las Vegas news network where George Knapp, an investigative reporter, interviewed Bob Lazar under the alias of Dennis. Bob Lazar is a physicist who claimed to work at a secret military base called S4, right across from Area 51, commonly referred as Dreamland.
Like Hollywood sci-fi. Months later, when his identity was revealed, Bob Lazar said he worked at a secret facility near Groom Lake where alien technology was being reverse engineered, that is, taken apart to figure out how it worked and whether the Pentagon could duplicate it. This is the simple drawing he made at the time.
Did you have any direct contact or communication with aliens?
No, not at all.
What is element 115? Is it found here on Earth, or is it strictly an extraterrestrial material?
115 is strictly an extraterrestrial material. It probably occurs naturally in some other places, maybe other star systems. Some people not familiar with science or chemistry say, well, that's ridiculous. All the elements occur on Earth, but that's not true. There are elements on the periodic chart that aren't found on Earth. I believe the Heavy Ion Research Lab in Darmstadt, Germany, has reached element 112 recently. So 115 isn't that far away. And when they synthesize it, it's not like they're making a couple ounces of it. They're talking about 1 or 2 atoms of it. To make any usable quantity of a heavy element like that is virtually impossible. Element 115 is in the top of the reactor. And the base of the reactor apparently is a small, something similar to a cyclotron. It's a particle accelerator. A particle is accelerated to high speed and then deflected up a small tube, and it's aimed at the 115. This transmutes the 115, similar to the way we do that in a normal particle accelerator. This causes a reaction, a radiation emission that we really haven't seen before. It produces antimatter. This antimatter is guided down a tuned tube and reacts with a gas. When matter and antimatter react, they convert to 100% energy. This energy is converted, heat energy, is converted to electrical power in the reactor itself. This is done through a thermoelectric converter. And this electrical power is used to power other subsystems on the craft, though there is no wiring, as we would know it. Also, that's almost a byproduct of the reactor. The reactor also sets up a gravitational wave from the 115 being bombarded. This gravitational wave was present at the top of the reactor and is essentially guided in the same way microwaves are guided through tuned tubes. And this goes to their amplifying cavities and through the projectors that are in the bottom of the craft.
With the gravity generators running, is there thermal radiation danger to the crew?
There is no thermal radiation while the reactor is running. The thermionic generator is 100% efficient, which is in violation of the first law of thermodynamics. But in fact, it works.
Is he telling the truth? Bob stated he worked at Los Alamos facility when George Knapp attempted to inquire about him. The administration said they never knew him, nor could his education be validated. George Knapp did find a directory of Bob at Los Alamos facilities, proving in fact he did work there. At the time of Bob's interview with George Knapp, he mentioned a couple of things of importance. He talked about in order to get into the secret facility where the UFOs were held, he said they used a strange pen biosensor to allow people to have access to the building. When George inquired to other agencies that needed secret clearance, they said they had never heard of such mechanism. Bob was ridiculed. Bob also mentioned how the secret alien technology worked. He said that there was an element called 115 that was crucial, that did not exist in 1989. Recently, however, in the documentary UFO, Bob Lazar and Aliens, the secret pin mechanism to allow people access showed up. There was clear evidence that Bob was telling the truth after all. Element 115, which didn't exist in the periodic table at the time of his 1989 interview, was discovered to be true as well. It's known as Muscovium. Many researchers believe the alien narrative is a made-up distraction, or a deception to even greater untold truth. I believe Bob believes he is telling the truth. However, I do not know if what he says is true.
And quite frankly, I could make up a better lie, but I have no motivation to lie.